You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise.
This poem by Maya Angelou shows the trials and tribulations many women have faced throughout the years. All the women you are going to see have faced these trials and tribulations, but still have found a way to rise above, like Angelou described in her poem. Welcome back to today's episode of This American Life. My name is Kayla Banks, and I will be introducing the theme of women breaking social norms. I will do this by showing you 3 acts interviewing 3 women that have risen above the standards society has set in place. Each act will include 3 different subtopics that all tie into our overall message. Our first interview is with my very own Taekwondo coach, Erin Lehman, who began martial arts in the 80s when that was very rare for females.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Erin Lehman. I am in my mid-40s. I grew up in Southern Illinois. I've done Taekwondo since I was 7 years old. Earned my black belt when I was 12 and worked in the financial services industry.
When you started martial arts, were there very many females that you knew of involved in the sport?
No, none at all. There was one other girl that I trained with, but she was quite a bit older than me. She actually started training after I did, but that's the only person I can think of that I trained with that was a female. Everyone else was a male.
Did you ever face judgment or unfairness due to your gender? Like, were you ever docked lower in points at tournaments because of your gender, or letting the male win?
You know, if I was ever docked lower on points, I never realized it because I didn't know any different. Because I've just, from the time that I started training until probably when I started teaching Taekwondo myself and started getting my own students, I was used to just being the only female. And so if I was being treated differently for being a girl, I don't think that I realized it. I think if anything, I think that a lot of people looked at me as more like an oddity because, when we would go to tournaments or different things, tournaments now are split into divisions where you have, boys compete against boys, girls compete against girls. And so back when I started training and competing, they didn't have that. It was just one division that you went into. And so I don't know. I don't know if I was treated any different because I didn't know any better. It was just the way that it was. So
Growing up in school, were you ever bullied or made fun of for your participation in martial arts?
I don't think I was bullied, but I definitely was made fun of. There was a lot of people, that you would hear like in the hallway making little noises at me, like the hi-yas, and they would do these silly little moves and stuff, and make fun of me. But I don't know. Again, it was just one of those situations where I didn't really know any better. That's just what I was used to. And as I got older, there were some situations that came up in high school where I actually had people try to, had a girl at school try to attack me, and I was able to defend myself. And I think that was kind of like a turning point for my peers in school to where they kind of realized, like, maybe I actually did know how to take care of myself, and so then I kind of backed off about it.
So, through all this, what inspired you to keep going through martial arts?
I would say the big inspiration for me is that my parents did not let me quit. So many times kids will come and say, they'll train for a little bit and then they'll come in and say, this just isn't for me. I don't think I really like it. And not that I didn't try to do that myself when I was a kid, but my parents always told me, get your dobok on, you're going to class anyway. I didn't have a choice. And so then when I became old enough to realize that I did have a choice on whether or not I trained or not, it's just become such a big part of my life that I can't imagine not doing it now. I think it's good, one, for me physically, but two, more than anything, it's so good for my mental health to clear my mind of any stress and anxiety that I might be feeling. And the body kind of has a weird way of like muscle memory kicking in and doing what it's supposed to do, and that just helps me so much in so many different avenues that I can't imagine ever quitting now. But the big thing was at the time is my parents just told me no, I had to come to class anyway.
Well, that's all we have. Thank you.
All right.
So how does Miss Erin inspire you?
To me, she's an inspiration, especially how she just encourages everybody. She's just generally excited whenever her students learn something new.
How does Miss Erin inspire you?
She inspires me by how she pushes me to keep going even when I doubt myself. And just her kindness and strength just shows how confident she is, and I'm so glad to have her as a role model and my guide.
How does Miss Erin inspire you?
She inspires me how high she gets.
Our next interview will be with a woman who made a decision against society during the late 80s to early 90s. Donna Presley, otherwise known as Madison's Oma, made the decision to get a divorce and become a single mother, which made everyone around her turn their back.
Before interviewing Madison's Oma, we sent her these questions.
Question 1. Did the backlash from getting a divorce ever make you question if you made the right decision? Question 2. When you became a single mother, how did you cope with the change or lack of support while also facing the backlash/negativity of deciding to get a divorce? And question number 3. If you had to go back, would you have done anything differently?
Here are her responses.
Hello, my name is Donna Presley. I'm Madison's Oma. I am 70 years old this year. Can you believe that? I've always lived out in the country. I enjoy my quiet and time in the country. I guess I'm going to be answering some questions, so here we go. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where to start here. I graduated high school in the early 70s. My parents didn't believe in college. You got married, you became obedient to your husband, and raised a family. You don't ever go into marriage thinking that you are going to divorce if it gets hard. Divorce is like a death of a dream. I truly loved the man and tried to hold it together for the kids' sake. But when I did decide to leave, I knew I would have a difficult time. Money would be tight, as I had a car payment, because we'd bought a family car, which was more expensive and a nicer one than just something to get back and forth to work. I was fortunate to be able to stay with my parents. They were snowbirds and went to Florida in the winter, so that I could have several months there alone with the girls. And the only time I would question my decision was when family members and people, friends that we've had over the years, took sides. There are no sides. You know, everyone loses in this. People in smaller towns love to get in your business. I got phone calls at work, harassing me, and at home questioning my decisions. People thought they knew better than I what to do. When I went to basketball games, people would get up and leave or move. And the things that I normally got invited to I was no longer invited to because you couldn't have two people there. And it's like that just didn't make sense. I want to go back a little bit here and talk about what I did in order to cope with the lack of support and the backlash from the people. I went to a year's counseling myself just to walk myself through the process. I felt like such a failure. I just couldn't wrap my mind around where I was. And I just thought, okay, I need to learn to love myself and then can go on and with everything else in life. And that's just what we did. Going back, that's a difficult question. What would I do differently? I do know the one thing I'd always wished I was able to go to college, and I would have found the gumption to pick myself up and make that journey, defy my parents' wishes. That was going to be the hardest thing, and go against their beliefs and go into nursing or teaching. It's been an unfulfilled dream. I think that would have given me time for more maturity and experience and relationships and life in general to make better choices to handle the more difficult times with grace. But my decisions, I stand on where I am in life, and I've had a good life. My kids are wonderful. My grandchildren are great. So you can't wish for more. Thank you much.
Hi, my name is Angela Lees, and my mom is Donna Presley, or otherwise known as Madison's Oma. And I'm supposed to answer the question how my mom inspired me. That's a tough question to put in a paragraph. My mom was a very strong woman, and my mom raised me that I could do anything that I wanted to, and I could be anything that I wanted to. And I really firmly think she believed that. A really quick story about her. I know you didn't ask me, but I'm going to tell you anyways. A quick story. My sister, when she would tell us, you can do whatever you want, my sister said, well, then can I just become a hobo, a homeless person? And my mom said, you can become a homeless person if you would like to do that, if that's your choice to do that. But you are going to be the homeless person with the best doggone box out there, because you're going to go to college first. And then if you decide to be a homeless person, that's fine. So she just raised us, to better ourselves and to do that. And I think I've really tried to embody that and to be the best person that I can be with how she raised me.
Our final interview is with a woman who took over her father's construction company. She's a role model for young women who have dreams or hopes to work in predominantly male fields. She has been extremely successful, so let's take a look at her story.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Jamie Zeller Taylor, and I am 52 years old. I live in Marion, Illinois. I have been here since I have been 5.
Did you ever experience any negativity or backlash when you took over the construction company?
I only experienced backlash from other vendors, not other people who own construction companies. That was never a deal. Sometimes some of the workers would give backlash. So I have owned the company since 2009, but I have worked with my dad since I have been in high school. I actually did the CVE program when I was in high school. I did the CVE program, which we left at noon, and I worked in his office when I was 16. So I have grown up with construction.
Have you ever struggled to get people to listen to your ideas or agree with you because of your gender?
No, I don't believe so. They always let me voice my opinion, my comments and concerns, but if they, of course, didn't like what I have to say, they wouldn't follow them. No, but I was always being able to be heard.
How did you feel when you took over the company? Did you feel overwhelmed or nervous, especially about how others would view you?
All of those, yes. All of that, yes. But as time has went on, I am very confident in how I present myself and how I am with others. So yes, in the beginning it was very stressful, but as I've gotten older, I've gotten more confident, and that seems to help.
So overall, what kind of inspired you to keep going with the business even when things got tough?
I worked with my dad. Construction is all I've ever really known. And I have worked with my dad, like I said, since I've been 16. And my business partner and I bought the construction company from my dad in 2009. And we have just kept going since then.
Thank you.
After speaking with Jamie, she informed us that during the beginning, she was really the only female in her field that she knew of. But as time went on, she was able to experience other women joining and gain confidence in her field.
All of these women have overcome the many obstacles of trying to thrive in a man's world. They have all persevered in order to rise above no matter the consequences. Each woman talked to is a great role model and example for young women in all different situations. On today's episode, we covered women shattering stereotypes in the sports world, everyday life, and in the work field. Each woman had to sacrifice the worry of what others thought in order to achieve success. They had to move past the negativity and doubts of others so that they could soar. We hope that we have brought great attention to this topic in a positive way and that you can use these women's stories to inspire you to rise above.